Alright, looks like we're live, but yeah, those Harbor Freight containers are gonna be fun. Now I'm kind of bummed that I spent like all this time. I spent like an hour and a half building it out for the 30 caliber ammo can
Uh-huh.
when the thing that we really wanted to use just went on sale, which is
Yeah.
hilarious to me. Whoops, I gotta mute a bunch of things. I forgot to mute. Definitely
For
forgot to
that.
mute Windows. Give me just a second here. But yeah, it was. I'm like, dang it. I feel like we have to see it through to completion,
Yeah.
but I am kind of salty that the week after I start a thing for this, it go and it's not even the one I wanted. I wanted the smaller one, but the bigger one is on sale.
And they're like $1 more, the bigger one
Well,
than the
so when
smaller
I
one.
was looking at doing the smaller one was $40. So they've raised that in price to make the bigger one appear to be cheaper. So
Yeah.
it's just weird.
It's Harbor
Uh,
Freight.
yeah, it's Harbor Freight, so as to be expected. But yeah, I'm definitely not salty like crazy about that. No, I definitely not salty about that.
Yeah.
Oh well, what are you gonna do, right? But yeah, hey, we're just gonna wait for people to get in here. This is episode chapter 48 of the Making Awesome podcast. We're coming up on 52, which is kind of cool. We're gonna try to get as many people from the staff as we can for episode 52. I'm kind of excited for that. That's gonna be a ridiculous podcast. I think that one will get rid of the actual background and we'll
Yeah.
just use the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Because my hope is that we can get a bunch of people. Maybe we put like an open Zoom link into Matt's Discord and we can get a bunch of people to come in and talk to us. And oh,
That'd
that'd
be
be Bob would hang out and just crap on us all day. That'd be hilarious.
well, I mean, isn't that what Bob's for?
That is exactly what Bob is for. Yes, we love Bob. Bob is good. Bob is life. Uh, but yeah, this one we're gonna be talking all about 3D printing education. A lot of you might be, wait a minute, you already did this. We did, but we did it from an educator's perspective, and now we're going to do it from a student's perspective. And we have a student. Open Zoom link is not a good idea, Jonathan says. Yeah, that's true. Hi, Allison. Hi. Lots of highs. Yeah. Open Zoom link in a private chat would
Yeah.
probably be okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's only a couple of people that I would be worried about coming on and like being a problem. Everybody else I'd be fine with.
I don't think anyone really in there would be too much of a problem.
Unless like, Justin the Elder or somebody else comes on just to cause trouble.
Well, isn't that what they're here for?
I mean, yeah, so like that's kind of how this works. It's like are they coming on to be helpful or are they just coming on to cause trouble? Uh yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be the big one because that means that we have gone an entire year. Now, we haven't stayed on schedule, right? There have been, some weeks where we were late, some weeks where we were early. Now we're doing them live, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, it'll be 1 year of weekly podcasts, and it has not yet blown up. But we've been refusing. We can get sponsors for the podcast, but it's like through Anchor and If we want to get sponsored, we want to get a sponsor. So we'll see. But we're gonna start shifting into more professional topics and less, us screwing around about industry topics because I think that's gonna be more valuable to not just our viewers, right? People that really want to learn more about the technology, but also for our efforts on the B2B side of the business. So like, selling things. We can use the podcast as a good way to bring in cool people that might eventually turn into customers, which would be dope, basically.
Or we become their customers.
I mean, it'd be tough. Like, the guy we were talking about earlier, maybe, but I don't know. I have a 3D Systems machine already, so do I need more? If they give them to me, yes. But they're very expensive.
I mean,
that'd be the day. I'd be like us being sponsored by 3D Systems and Fangs. Now that would be that would be a video. No,
I am connected with the CEO of things on LinkedIn.
I mean I am too,
but
we're not there yet. Yeah. Anyways, it's actually cool. A subscriber of ours shared our video in a Swedish Facebook group, and commented that he shared it in a Swedish Facebook group, and I could actually see from the analytics right when he posted it, because you can see it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and our video got like an extra 15 views, which is not normal.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool. That was the Cheetu Blocks video. God, what a terrible name for that video. But everybody else loved it, so we did it. Anyways, we are going to be talking all about 3D printing education. We, of course, have Justin with us here today. Oh,
I am a student.
Eric just DM'd me the Facebook post. Yep, it's in languages that I don't understand. Yep. So thanks, Jimmy. I want to give a shout out to Jimmy for doing that. That was pretty cool. I have never actually seen native Swedish language. That's kind of cool. Anyways, let's talk about 3D printing education, because a couple of weeks ago we had Cole Goldstein on from Johnson University talking all about oh, okay, apparently it was linked in the largest Swedish 3D printing group. That's pretty cool. Anyways, a couple of weeks ago we had Cole Goldstein on from Johnson University, and we talked about 3D printing from an educator's perspective, as well as that they have now volunteered to assist us in building a centrifuge for a 3D printer, because, you know, what could go wrong?
A lot.
Well, you said you were in to watch the Calamity, so I have a feeling this is a good move no matter what. But now we have a student. So Justin, some of the people here know you, some of them may not. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you do, who you are?
I'm Justin. I'll be a senior in high school on Monday. I
Gross.
3D print lots of things, and for school, for projects, for 3D Musketeers, I make your time-lapse Tuesdays and other video editing or whatever, and design and fusion, and trying to learn NTOP. But yeah, lots of fun stuff.
Oh, centrifuge. John said, reach
Yes,
out to NASA, 100% they have one on the Space Coast. Go to Space Camp at 31. Does Justin even know what Space Camp is?
Yes.
Okay, Justin does know what Space Camp is. That's good. Okay.
I have a friend who went, and I did get to go.
You didn't get to go? Were you not cool enough for Space Camp?
I wasn't in the STEAM program at my school until like the next year.
You're also not cool enough for Space Camp.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, look, this is not a live podcast. It's definitely not just between us girls or anything. But anyways, yeah. So Justin is going to be a senior on Monday, so that's kind of gross. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
Can we get an F in chat for that? Can we get some F in chats? Because Justin's social life is hereby deceased. And it's in person too, which is kind of crazy.
My social life is deceased, but then like also I get to see everyone every day now, so it's.
But do you want to see everybody?
Some people.
Heather says, always making me feel old when Justin's on. Same though.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Look, this is kind of the cool thing about us, you know, having people on staff from all over the world, different walks of life and different age brackets, because we get to hear from a student's perspective. I don't have to like randomly go on to Facebook and ask for a child to come on the podcast, because that just sounds weird. See, it's not weird when that child works with us and does a lot of interesting stuff. So, you know, if you like the time lapses, you know, Justin is pretty awesome, and he does all of our time lapses. But
And I did figure out my computer breaks when.
Why does your computer break? We figured that out?
Yeah, because XMP was turned off and my RAM was declocked to like 50%.
Freaking rip.
Yeah.
Allison says she feels old with all of you. Well, yeah, sorry. But Allison has been in this industry longer than anybody that I know, so that's a plus. That's kind of cool. But yeah, we want to talk about 3D printing in education as a student because we recognize that a lot of our viewers might be younger, a lot of our viewers might have kids, and there's a lot of value to having 3D printing not only in the classroom but in the household. And whether it's you own a 3D printer or you are utilizing one of our sponsors, 3D Musketeers. Yeah. See, it's not as fun when we don't have all the fun animations when I do my crappy segues to our sponsors.
Yeah.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we sponsor our own videos because we're only a 1,500 subscriber YouTube channel, and that's all that we can do right now. But if you want to get your ideas out of your head and into your hands with full arch part rapid prototyping and product development, if you want to have that kid, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, ask the kids. They know that kid. The one that gets the A's, the one that sets the curves, so that you can utilize awesome 3D printing in those school projects. You can hit us up. Links will be down below somewhere. Or it's YouTube at 3dmusketeers.com. Email us. But, yeah, because, like, Justin, you've had 3D printers for how long now?
When did the Mark III come out?
It's been a minute.
2017?
It's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a while.
So at least 4-ish years is what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I originally started out with the Wanhao Maker Select, the Wanhao Duplicator Plus, the Monoprice rebranded one because
Beautiful.
Monoprice is not that far from me and it was easy and they had warranty-ish on it. And that was an interesting experience. They were not a good starter printer.
Now, what was your reason for getting that 3D printer?
Price point at the time.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it was only a couple $100. It wasn't like I was able to save up birthday money and whatnot, and it wasn't going to be $1,000 like a Prusa. And that was, did you go to the will call? No, I did not go to the will call. I got it delivered. John's asking about the Monoprice.
Oh, yeah. Monoprice has a pretty awesome will call, and they had some crazy discounts on the will call recently.
Well, they are like an hour and a half from me, but like that was not a good experience with the printer. Like I had so many issues. Like the bed was warped. I didn't really know what the issues were with it. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know how to make it work right out of the box. I got a couple okay prints, but it was a pain.
Yeah.
It took a lot of work. And where then that ended up getting returned, which was good. We were able to return it. And then I ended up ordering a Prusa Mark III pre-order. It took like 6 or 8 weeks to come. And then I got that, and that, yeah, I ended up getting the pre-built because I think we were all like, me and my parents were like kind of fed up with me. Like I was disappointed in like when I'm 12, 13 years old, like that's, you don't want to see your kid like all like sad about like a hobby that they're trying to start or whatever and especially when it's not an inexpensive one. So we ended up doing the pre-built one, and just from there and it working right out of the box, I've learned so much with it. And really, like, I've learned how to take it apart. I learned how, because the documentation is there, and like I think that's the big difference. I didn't have to rely on the community, because especially when you're young like that and you don't know the community yet, it's a little hard to get that support from like the Monoprice or somewhere that doesn't have the experts in 3D printing. But when you go and reach out to Bruce's chat, you have someone who knows how to walk you through it, and the instructions are just like, they have the little 3D printing handbook too.
Yeah, the handbook's great, especially for newbies. I mean,
and it's really good for like repairs and stuff. Like even if you don't have a Prusa, download their handbook and read it. It's like 20 or 30 pages, not a long read. And
I've said this before, but I'm holding a copy of the assembly instructions for the Mark III's. This is from 2019, so this is.
Mine's the old one too.
It's a little bit old. It's version 3.12, if you're wondering. But to give anybody an idea of how thorough it is, they have, the instructions are so thorough that they tell you when and how many gummy bears to eat throughout the build process. And I'll tell you, a company that goes through the effort to tell you when and how many gummy bears to eat during your build process is going to have a great thing. Things like, be careful about the filament sensor, and, they'll have little cartoons of Joseph Prusa when there are, things that you can get caught up on, because it's true. And you kind of have to play that game of getting it right. And I'll say, they're not fast to build. The Mark 3S for a first timer should take somewhere like 10 to 12 hours, but it is great. And when you look at, especially with a kid, if they can follow those instructions, and yes, I know I'm like the first one to just yeet instructions into another dimension because I know how to do these things. You need the instructions for a nut and bolt 3D printer like a Prusa. Yeah. And it's a great way, because when you have a problem, not if, right? 3D printers they're not like a car. And a car, if you don't change its oil, you're going to have problems. But it's not like
I'd actually say it's close to a car. You're gonna have problems eventually with your car.
Well, I mean, you'll have problems with a 3D printer well before you have problems with a car.
Well, yeah, but just the level of the machine. It's a car's, but like it's their machines. They break.
Yeah, and
they have wear items. They
do. And knowing how to assemble it means you know how to disassemble it and work on it. And Amber has assembled a couple. No, she's assembled one, but she's disassembled a few of them. Like when I'm busy, or she wants to help or something like that. It's a great way for her. She can look at the instructions, or she just kind of knows at this point where to take things apart. And Amber's not a 3D printing expert. She up until dating me didn't have any experience with the technology. So
yeah.
Allison says she doesn't even trust her 12-year-old with Lego sets because he misses things in the instructions. Okay, well, in that regard, I don't think I would trust myself with a Lego kit. Speaking of which, I don't know if Amber can hear me, but Amber got me a Lego kit when we got monetized on YouTube, which is hilarious because the Lego kit costs more than our first month of YouTube money, which is kind of funny to me.
Which Lego set?
She got me the International Space Station Lego set. I haven't built it yet.
You need to add the new module to it. Well, Scott Manley designed the instructions for the new module, the new Russian missile module.
Okay, the one that just caused the ISS to do a backflip?
Yeah. But I'll send you the information on how you can get it's like 20 or 30 extra pieces. It's easy to get.
We'll have to try.
But everyone's like, oh, there's no rollout solar panels because they added new solar panels on it.
Oh, so, I'm sorry. Go ahead and return it back to Lego and complain to them because, tiny 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter bricks are apparently accurate to scale. Gosh. No, I thought it was funny because, I don't have Lego anymore. They're actually all at my mom's house. And I have told her under no circumstances should she ever get rid of those Lego because... maybe one day I might have kids, and Lego's expensive, man. Right? That's an investment. All right.
We got the original, the NES one, the Lego set. It has the little screen, and it has the console and the controller and stuff. That was a fun build.
Heather says she wants the Saturn V. I agree, but I don't have Saturn V money. Although there is a really cool Saturn V 3D print, but I am way too impatient for that.
I still want to do the Lego Bugatti. That's the one I want to do.
I just want a Bugatti.
Well, that too.
Then again, I don't, because again it comes back to maintenance, right? And that's we got so off track because of Lego. Lego's a great way for us to tangent, but yes. I just bought my other Legos. Half, the child, for his 55th birthday. Beautiful.
That's a good way that we can talk about it in education, though, the Legos. If you need, a special Lego piece for showing something.
It's true. Print it out. And I have a buddy who I think has one of the most unique businesses I've ever heard of. He uses Lego as a method of team building for businesses. So he'll make a custom kit of Lego, and he'll ship it to everybody on your team. You get on a Zoom call with him, and he tells you to build it. There are no instructions. And he tells you to build something. And based on what you build, He can give an idea of how certain people think. I thought it was so cool. John says Tesla plaid is better than Bugatti. But do you have to wear plaid while driving a Tesla plaid? I really believe that Tesla has made a mistake in not offering a plaid interior on the Tesla plaid. Because
like the VW, like the Golf R has it, I think. You can get it.
John had it in his GTI. He had the plaid
Yeah.
interior, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I did not like that car. It was way too fast. Its suspension was way too stiff. The seats were nice, but like with someone with a bad back, and I like fast cars. Don't get me wrong. I love fast cars. But with a bad back and really stiff suspension, that car was terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
I
the
need
two
to get a
times I
ride
had
in
to
a-
drive it.
I haven't
You're
seen a plaid.
interrupting?
I'm really surprised.
What?
I gave up features so I could get that interior.
You get what?
Oh, you
features
got
did
the
give up
lower
for that
trim?
interior.
I didn't know it at the time. Oh, better stereo. That's
Better
for sure.
stereo.
Um,
You got to come a little bit closer to the microphone. Yeah,
I'm not.
right here. You're not on camera anymore.
Better stereo.
Okay.
Allegedly it had radar cruise, but it actually didn't.
Okay.
And like,
You sold the car for crazy money, though.
oh yeah. But come on, plaid.
Plaid.
And I've got a matching jacket, so you know you can't.
You bought the matching jacket for your
no,
car?
it was Gary's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just
Okay.
it was tartan plaid.
I'm very
Anyways.
surprised I haven't seen a plaid yet, because I am in the land of Teslas
You're in the land of Teslas and in the land of electric vehicles.
and the land of
Dude, that
G-wagons,
plaid I saw,
and
bro.
Yeah, I don't like their steering wheels. They just kind of look stupid.
the plaid yoke is a joke. That rhymed.
The plaid yoke is a joke. Come on, Justin, get over it now. Get yoked. Anyways, and when we look at the value of 3D printing from a student's perspective, do you have access to this technology at school?
Sort of. Like
Sort of.
I'm
What
really
sort of mean?
so like my physics class, I will supposedly have access to printers. I haven't gone to that class yet.
Is this the
But-
teacher that we were trying to get on for today and never responded to his email?
Yeah.
Thanks, teacher.
Yeah. I mean, it is the weekend before school, and he probably just doesn't want to check his email. But
He's probably procrastinated as much as you and Brad have. Brad
Probably.
can't be here because he's got a bunch of schoolwork because he freaking procrastinated the whole dang summer.
I dropped my summer class because
Why'd you drop your summer class? Because you're lazy?
oh no, it was just a lot of work, and it goes through into school,
Oh, it's a lot of work.
and it goes into school though,
So-
and that's 7 classes I'd be taking.
Eh.
I don't know, whatever.
Look, I didn't take many summer classes when I was in high school, but I didn't know 3D printers weren't ubiquitous when I was in high school. So, and I graduated high school in 2008, which is right kind of when the RepRap project was, on its trajectory upward. And I think had I had access to 3D printers, boy, those school products would have gone a lot different. They would have been way better.
So like the physics class, I think like it makes sense in that type of classroom.
Totally.
I did just hear this week actually that we have an engineering class. I didn't take it. It started. It would have been good to take freshman year for me. Like it's a very intro to engineering class, and like there's no reason to put it in my senior schedule for that. But if I do end up taking it, I'll let everyone know. But she just got 2 Prusas Mark III S's
Is that
for it.
Christy?
No, it's a different teacher. We helped her pick which printer, and I'm like, if the school let you get Prusas, get Prusas because
Yeah, and that's probably the hardest part. And something that we didn't cover with Cole is, all about access. And so, schools generally, at least here in the United States, can only buy from certain approved vendors. And if your school is not approved to purchase from like Prusa, well, then you can't purchase a Prusa. Now, there's lulzbots out there. We've talked about the Taz sidekick before. Now that we know some people that have some hands-on with it, it's not as bad as.
I think you'll be fine for a classroom.
I think it would be. I think it would be. but I think it's still very expensive, and I think a Prusa is still a better value. But
Yeah, I think the reason that our school allowed it is because we're a charter school, which means we have like our own board of directors and decide where the finances go.
yeah, when you have
And
that
if she was able to
opportunity, it's
budget
better.
it, she probably was able to expense it and get it from wherever she wanted. So I'm
Funding is a big deal. Funding is a big deal, especially for like underprivileged schools. And like that bothers me where that's where 3D printing is needed the most, right? The schools that aren't in the greatest neighborhoods, that's where you need this technology because guess what? Just because you grew up in a crappy neighborhood doesn't mean you're not going to ever amount to anything. I remember my first or second day working at the Museum of Science and Industry in Tampa, Florida. I'm naming and shaming today. I'm in a mood. There's a mood right here. And my manager, Mr. Pelaez, I'm not going to give his first name. I'll give his last name. You can look him up. Took me aside and said, Grant, you are getting degrees in business and you will never amount to anything in the world of science. That is not the way, one, not the way managers should ever be, right? But two, they went bankrupt, so but nonetheless, I think that education can value heavily from this technology, and if there is an ability for kids to have access to this at home, it is a massive benefit on top of what's going on at school. And I think if teachers need to get paid more, first off, but second off, if teachers could somehow release they
get paid decent here.
Okay, well, they don't get paid decent anywhere else in the country.
Yeah.
But, realistically, teachers are overworked and underpaid. Same thing with nurses. They're overworked and underpaid. Most, blue-collar work is overworked and underpaid. But, ultimately, students that don't have access to this, in my opinion, aren't getting a fair chance to succeed right now. I mean, think of when was the last? I mean, clearly you haven't used it in a school project for a while, but when was the last time you used a 3D printer for a school project? Or have you?
Did probably the two most recent ones was from my AP chemistry class, which I actually worked with Paul, that we all know and love, on that because I had a research paper that I was really stuck on. He gave me lectures that he had, and he showed me this Primal program that allowed you to use Python to make the atomic structures that I was trying to research for school, and I was able to use that and then export that. He showed me he has some of the models already on his Prusa printers page, and you can print them out because I wanted to be able to show in hand what was happening, not just on the computer. So I printed those out. But then for English class, we had a project on 1984, and yeah, that was when my printer I was printing just face shields 24/7, and I had some failed ones. I just kind of made like a scrap pile and called it art.
I mean, you are in California. You can call anything art and get away with it.
Yeah, and I mean, it worked.
Yeah, I look back into all the things. If I had a 3D printer, I would have just 3D printed everything because, and now you're in California, and you're in LA, so let's be real. Very few of the students at your school are likely struggling financially. Yeah, I mean, it's a charter school too, so even further, right?
Well, no, the charter doesn't mean any. That's just.
Oh, it's still a public school?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually a lot
Charters
of
are weird here in Florida.
Yeah, the charter is still funded by the state completely.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, we have an engineering school opening 3 blocks away, and I have heard bupkis from them. Like, I am the engineering guy in the area. Why have I not heard from them? I don't know. But I do believe that 3D printing is valuable because it lets students really go forward. Like, when my brother and I were in high school, if we wanted to create something like with an after-school club, you had to go out, you had to go get steel, aluminum, plastics, used a heat gun, a blowtorch, soldering iron. Like, it was jank, and it was really jank. But if it worked, right? We were working on a hybrid electric vehicle, and we needed to build stuff for it. And we're like, all right, what can we build it out of? Well, Let's go get some EMT tubing. It's thin wall steel tubing that's used for electrical. Let's get a bender for it, and let's just build cages out of that stuff. And yeah, it makes you crafty, right? We used we used bikes. We went out and bought bikes from thrift stores for dirt cheap, and used the sprockets and the chains because we didn't have the ability to 3D print things. And when you look at what we could have done with a 3D printer, oh man, that thing would have been so much cooler with a 3D printer, or it would have been way more jank. I mean, it only either gets worse or better. But when you look at like molecule projects where you don't have to use the styrofoam balls and sticks anymore, you can use a 3D printer to get the real molecule. You can model the real molecule. And then further, it's not like, oh, okay, I'll just wait till the day before it's due. Now you have the opportunity to design something, which is a further learning opportunity outside of the classroom. Yep. Then you get to 3D print it. Whether you're 3D printing it at school or at home, it doesn't matter. And like, we have a local college, University of South Florida, local to us. And I'll tell you, they still wait till the last minute because every semester end, I can guarantee on $1,000 that week from USF, from students that waited to the last minute. Their entire print farm on campus is backed up, so they come to us every freaking semester. But yeah, I think there's value. I just think that eventually people get jaded to the tech, like, oh yeah, the 3D printer doesn't work. And when schools buy crappy 3D printers, or they put, specifically, the hard thing is when they put uneducated people to run them, we end up with a problem. And so I think we're going to start doing an education program. So if you are out there, you are an educator, you are a student, and you have access to 3D printers, but nobody knows how to use them, give us a call, email us, whatever. We are going to put together a training course for staff, specifically, that is all about 3D printing, the safety of it, the dangers of it, because we have to be honest about the dangers of 3D printing. As well as how to run most basic 3D printers out there. It'll be an online class. It'll be easy. You can take it from anywhere in the world. And we will offer crazy good pricing to schools that want to do it for multiple staff members.
Like the engineering teacher, I sent her an email when I found out what she ended up getting. I'm like, email me or call me. My phone number's in my email, email signature. If you need me to come deal with the printers, I'll come deal with them, and I will show you. And like, that's kind of what happened with Christy Deutsch, who was my teacher, and she's now in the 3D printing community.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
I'm almost positive the reason that she got into it is because I printed her out a big coronavirus, and like that was like right when we were like about to like be done with school and like never go back. I think that sitting on her desk staring at her is what ended up making her want to get into 3D printing.
I saw this happen yesterday. So I was at our second office yesterday for a little bit. I had some meetings. Ultimately, everybody but one person canceled on me. Hilarious. I was expecting like 4 or 5 meetings in a row, and only one person came. Fun stuff. But I brought a 3D printer with me because, well, people wanted to see him. So I brought the Prusa Mini because it has a handle. Well, I printed the handle. And it's light enough that my crippled ass can carry it, right? So nice and easy. And I'm like, all right, I'll start printing a Benchy. I used the printed solid magenta, the pure magenta. And I was messing with everybody in there because I'm like, what color is this? What color do you think this is? They're like, it looks kind of like a green. I'm like, you're colorblind, aren't you? It's great. And not a single person saw it in the same color that I did. It was cool. But it was interesting because there's this one lady. She runs a maker business. She's got a 14 needle embroidery machine. Which, by the way, if you guys want to see like footage of an embroidery machine, like a professional one working, let me know. I'm gonna have her do a bunch of shirts for us. And I told her that we would go in and we would film. But I believe the Osmos can film at like 240 frames per second. It's not all that fast, but it's reasonably high speed. Yeah. And I want to set it up because. Yeah, I want to show color changes and all that stuff too, but... That
sounds about right for the speed-wise of that camera.
It might go higher. I don't know. I haven't looked, but...
Because I know my phone can do 1080, 240.
Do I have one sitting... I'm set up to film videos later today, so I don't know if I have... Oh, yeah, I have an Osmo. It's in the freaking charging case. The world's most unnecessary charging case. Like, this is the charging case, okay? And then you hit a button and it just slowly presents it. There is no need. It is so freaking extra. But I'm totally fine with this. But yeah, we're going to be taking some video of it for her, but, you know, maybe we'll do some for us too. Slow-mo. Let me see what we have for slow-mo. 1080p 4X is all that I get to choose from. That's weird. I wonder if I have to turn the video up on my side here. Either way.
Yeah, whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I if you want to see that, let me know. Leave a like on this video because it would be something that I find it incredibly fascinating to do that, even if it's 240 frames a second, because I can get the gimbal to track the needle, and so it'll stay focused on the needle. I don't know. It sounds like it might be fun.
Yeah.
But you know, she kept coming into my office and checking on the printer because she's like, I don't really know how these work. I'm like, here, let me get out of the office. These are very tiny offices. I'm like, here, let me get out, socially distanced, wearing masks. I said, all right, go in there, sit in my chair, and just get in line with it so you can see it. She was in there for like no less than 5 minutes just staring at it. She's like, how long was I in there? I said, it was a bit. She's like, it's just so cool. I never knew how these things work. And oh my God, there's so many things that I can do with this. I'm like, well, I'm your neighbor, so you can just kind of hit me up. Or if you want to buy one yourself, I mean, she's got her embroidery machine, brand new, is something like $44,000 or $45,000. I said, you clearly have, you know, at least a reasonable mechanical mindset. You could do this yourself. So she's going to start by outsourcing it to us, but eventually she wants to get her own machine. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, my brother's baseball hat for his like travel baseball team that he used to be on.
Yeah.
The logo was 3D printed on the hat.
Did you do that or did somebody else?
Someone else. I was holding his hat one day. I'm like, that's a print. Like I saw like the lines on it and it felt like plastic. It was cool. But like with 3D printing in like school, I really think it could be used almost every day. Not just for like engineering students, for art class, because if you want to teach someone Blender, or even like taking a 2D drawing and turning it, just extruding it up, or doing like lithophanes and stuff of art or photos, or there's so much you could do with it that it might not always be, you don't need to 3D print it, but it teaches this kid a technology that
it's the Jeff Goldblum. They were so concerned about whether or not they could, they ignored whether or not they should. I'm sure I'm butchering that quote, but it's very true. I think access to that technology allows you to think, could I 3D print that? Similar to, and Justin and I were talking about it right when the stream started, so if you missed it, you know, for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be turning one of these 30 caliber ammo cans into a charging container and storage container for the Osmo Pockets. And the container we really wanted to use, which is a, you know, big handheld Pelican style case from Harbor Freight, went on sale yesterday after I already started the stream for this. So I have now committed to finishing this, and then we got to go and do version 2. Now I just got to decide what color I want. I'm probably just going to get both and then decide later on. But yeah, it was just funny how that worked out. And I don't need a big charging case for the DJI Osmo Pockets. I can easily just get a big battery, a freaking splitter, and a bunch of USB cables, and that will work just as well. But it's going to look like crap. It's going to have terrible cable management and all that. Now, I do not promise at all that this looks better than crap. I firmly believe this is going to also look a little freaking jank.
Yeah.
But this is where, if I didn't have access to 3D printing, this would never happen. Like, ever happen. Because there's no point. And there's also, I mean, there's really no point for someone to have 4 of these cameras anyways. There are 5 in this house. And I might end up getting more of them because they film phenomenal footage. That's a big ass Benchy.
There's no point to have this.
Why do you have such a big Benchy?
I had a 0.8 nozzle on my printer.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, and you just got an Ender 3, so you and I got Ender 3 V2s at the exact same time. You've had a little bit of a harder time with yours than I've had with mine. But Did you buy that just because it was cheap, or did you buy it because you had a purpose?
Well, like if my printer, like if I ever get like a Etsy order, or like if I end up needing, if I'm printing like the Toys for Tots for IC3D or printing face shields, sometimes I need a printer for like a school project, or
Yeah.
if I'm working on something else. Because like I was working on open source access control system that I was making with the temperature sensor,
Okay.
and I needed to print the box for it, but I still needed to print face shields. So like if I had two printers, that would have been great. But I
Real quick.
I couldn't get one at that time, but now I got
yeah.
one because they were inexpensive, and
Easy,
the price went down way down, which
Yeah.
is surprising
We got
because
them
everything
for
else
what?
has gone way up.
We got them for less than $170 delivered, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe it was a little over 170. I mean,
it was
it's
just around there.
crazy stupid cheap. Crazy stupid cheap. I think that video is coming out Friday.
Yeah.
Or wait, yeah. I think the unboxing of it's going to come out on Friday because our whole content schedule has been screwed. For those that haven't figured it out, we do unboxings every Wednesday. So Monday and Friday's video are something else. So the Monday video is going to be, although if you're listening to this audio only, Monday has already come out. Maybe Friday has already come out because I forgot to upload it on Thursday. Monday's video is going to be the TV Take 2, which involves power tools. So please go watch it because, like, nobody watched the first video and it hurt me in my soul because I put a lot of effort into that video and nobody freaking watched it. Hopefully the Take 2 is better because I use power tools and I cut big holes in the back of this television. It was fun. We'll go with fun. I had a lot of fun. But there was a lot of smoke and everything stunk. Yeah, I'm just giving lots of hints as to why you should go watch it. But I remember making so many things in school, and my dad loved to help with this stuff. He, it was just a way for us to kind of bond. And I think if we had a 3D printer, I think he would have really enjoyed it. If you notice, they're hard to see. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. They're the battery boxes. There's one that is missing.
Your dad stole them.
My father stole it. Yes, Allison said the video with the fans on the TV. Yes, that video. Sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time easily. But yeah, I think we would have done things different. I think the mousetrap car wouldn't have been made out of Lego. It would have been 3D printed because it would have been faster and lighter. The bridge projects that we did where they didn't care what you made it out of, but it had to be 145 grams or less. I would have printed that.
Oh my god.
Then
I hope I have something like I hope I have something like that in physics class that I get to do something like that I can just troll everyone with like some stupid generative design or something in it and just.
Well, so they changed the rules because a lot of us said, okay, you don't care what we make. My internet went down.
Okay, the stream.
Yep.
The stream's back.
We're back.
Back up though.
We're back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, I saw it go red on my side, and then YouTube threw me a bunch of errors. Yeah. All of a sudden, I was streaming with nothing. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I was like, hello.
Sorry. Okay. Oh man, we lost all of our viewers. Oh well. Hopefully, people come back and like the video.
They'll come back. I think they just need to refresh their page. I think.
Yeah,
is what...
refresh. I thought it was my end that went down. No, it was my end. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was mine too. I went and checked and refreshed another tab.
I'm even on
next to it.
wired, man. I am on a wired connection right now. Oh well. All right. It looks like people are coming back, but nonetheless, yeah. Eventually, I don't know where did you guys lose me? I don't know where people lost us.
We were talking about like the bridges.
I know, but I don't know where.
160 grams, and that people start making out
Hold
of
on.
wood or
It
something.
was around the balsa wood. Okay.
Yeah, but I hear an echo because I hear you live versus on the
Yeah.
TV, so it might have been just before that.
Okay, well, let's say, okay, then they decided to do things out of balsa wood. You had to do the bridges just out of balsa wood. Well, they said it could be balsa wood and glue. They didn't specify how that glue was used. They also didn't specify what glue you could use. They said wood glue. They did specify wood glue, but they didn't specify what kind of wood glue.
That's like the expanding spray foam.
No, that's not wood glue. No, we use Type-On 3, which if you don't know about Type-On 3 is stronger than the wood itself. But what we also did was vacuum impregnate the wood with the glue. Because we still only used wooden glue. That is still technically within the rules. So as long as the bridge was light enough, it would succeed. Which it did. And it held a record for how many years? At least until we left school.
Yeah, and then it went, and then
we had to go to the local college to test it because we ran out of textbooks and stuff to test our bridge. We had to go to the local college and use one of their testing rigs for it.
Nice.
Mid-print on Wi-Fi, and I just ran across the house to make sure it wasn't me. Yeah, sorry, it was me.
Are you using Octoprint, Heather? Or what are you using on Wi-Fi to run your
what are
printer
you
over
using
Wi-Fi?
on Wi-Fi, Heather? Because like even Octoprint, saves
it'll
on
still
to
run
the
if your
vibe.
Wi-Fi goes out.
Yeah.
Not if your power though.
Yeah, if you lose power, you're screwed. But with most 3D printers, if you lose power, you're screwed. Even with the power loss stuff on Prusa, you're still screwed.
Unless it flickers for like a second and you're running off SD card. But like if it's something more than that, yeah, just it's done. If your printer cools down, most of the time, like on the Ender 3, the glass bed, once it cools down, the prints fall off the bed.
Yep.
So you're not able to reprint from there. So
yeah, it was yeah, I've had those days. I've had those days.
Oh yeah, we were talking about the issues I had with my Ender before we got all this attention.
Sorry, I was really proud of our malicious compliance. I talked about some more. If you all want to hear more about our malicious compliance, I talked about it with Cole. About like the catapult project and all that. Malicious compliance is basically how I've lived my entire life. Yes, talking about the Ender. Carry on.
So yeah, when I first got it, the filament would not go through the extruder. The plastic extruder on the Mark 8 extruder on mine was not drilled correctly, or was not injected correctly. Like it had flashing or something in where the filament path is. Unless you had it perfectly straight, your filament, and like lined it right through, it wouldn't go through. Like it just wasn't lined up perfect. And so I ended up putting the metal extruder on there. It's still a Mark 8, but it's fine.
I laugh because my old Wanhaus, we only have one left. We gave all the others away because they're terrible machines, and I never recommend you buy a Wanhao.
Yes,
they all have Mark 8 extruders. So the Mark 8 extruder has been around since 2014 minimum. It's like, why is, I mean, I know why Creality is choosing to use it because it's cheap to injection mold, but it's still a pain in the butt, you know? You could go up to a Bondtech, even a clone Bondtech if you want to be jerks about it. Speaking of, my clone Bondtechs that I bought, the metal clone Bondtechs, definitely appears that they were confiscated at customs.
Nice.
Which is good. That means Bondtech is actually going after people for their patents. It was an Amazon thing. They were $14 each, which is crazy for a, Bondtech gears and the whole extruder all metal. But yeah, it looks like they're on their way back to China, which is totally fine. I don't care. I got the refund for it, but I'm glad that Bondtech is finally, doing their patents. They were so cheap. I've never seen all metal Bondtechs that cheap. But
but the reason I didn't want to go dual gear was because I wanted to see the print.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to just see what it looked like. I mean, I bought that kit because it had the BL Touch in it. It was $5 more, and I got
the generic BL Touch. I'm sure it's a real BL Touch.
No, the real BL Touch is only $30.
Yeah, they're not too bad. I've gotten generic ones for less, but they don't do anywhere near as well as real BL Touches.
Yeah, it works great. I mean, I got my bed leveled to 0.02 across all of it.
I will say, so when we were talking crap about TH3D, I was working with Tim to figure out that firmware bug. By the way, it's all AMD. It's all from AMD processors. We figured out what the problem was, so I think he did a hot fix on it. He tested it on this machine.
It wouldn't compile.
Well, yeah, it would compile, but it would.
An error.
There are certain things that the AMD processor isn't looking at for some reason that Intel does. So it wasn't doing what it should have done. But he ran the test. He's like, I'm going to prove to you how good these are. He said, you haven't calibrated this, have you? I said, nope. He said, all right, let's test it. 0.0018.
Nice.
deviation across 10 hits. That's pretty
Oh, I
good.
never even checked that. I should try. I should check that on the BL Touch. I wonder what it looks like.
Yeah, we used Prawn Face, and it gave us
Okay.
back the standard deviation.
I'll run that.
Different instruction sets, John says, which was probably true. I don't know. I didn't care. He just needed access to a computer and the printer so he could play with it over the internet. So that's what I gave to him. But yeah,
and the Ender 3 bed, nothing would stick to it. I went and washed it with dish soap and hot water, and it's fine now.
Ours I just cleaned with Windex, and it was totally fine.
I used Windex and isopropyl alcohol. Neither of them worked.
Or no, I cleaned it with alcohol. Then I cleaned it with Windex.
I tried both, and it just wasn't happy with it. So I just took it to my kitchen sink, got dish soap, and just scrubbed it like you're washing dishes, and rinse it off. Put on paper towels and little isopropyl alcohol, and you're off to the races. Yeah, they do not like being touched, those glass beds, though. If they get any oil on them.
Yeah, no touchy. Oh yeah, John said the CEO of the company was willing to remote it and fix it is a very edge case issue. That's how you support a community, and it's true. Tim from TH3 was pretty great. But
does it use Platform.io, their compiler?
VS Code.
I know, but the Platform.io in VS Code or no?
Brother, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, also because the other people that were having these issues would not give him access to do it. I'm like, yeah, you need access? I don't care. Come and get it. The first time we used it as content, the second time I didn't record it because it was just he and I just BSing back and forth while he was working on it. We were waiting for things to occur. And so it was interesting. But, that's a great place for education in 3D printing. And, I feel like if science clubs, like after-school science clubs, had access to 3D printers, man, the things they'd be able to do, right? And we saw yesterday from Lucian and Olivia. Lucian did a holster for his Nerf blaster, and he 3D printed it. Then Olivia added a bunch of webbing on it from End Topology. And do you need a holster for your Nerf blaster? No.
Yes.
Do you want one? Yes. And Lucian designed it and was able to 3D print it, but at the same time iterate his designs. Now, Lucian's a phenomenal designer. He got it right the first time. No surprises here. I am not Lucian. If you watch our live streams, you'll know very quickly I am not an expert 3D modeler. I have 2 business degrees. I ride the struggle bus often. It is actually why I think a lot of people watch those live streams, is to watch me struggle, because apparently that's enjoyable. But even looking at Nerf around the house, right? 3D printing is awesome for that, where you could do things along the lines of the Project FDL, which don't do Project FDL for small children, because giving small children automatic Nerf guns that can fire well over 200 feet per second, accurate to well over 20 yards, is just asking for broken dishware, broken glasses.
Well, because they use these motors.
Yeah, they use quadcopter motors to propel the darts out. They're dope. And ambushing Amber when she gets home from work with David, one of our staff members, was hilarious, but I definitely paid for it later on. Yes, Nerf blasters. I'm sorry I'm used to saying Nerf guns. Nerf blasters. They are not guns. They are blasters. Sorry. It's Florida, all right? It's just... Why did you print that? Remember, we have audio only. You have to describe what that is.
It's
the dinosaur game when you don't have internet from
dinosaur
Chrome.
Game. Because
you printed a dinosaur game. Of course you did.
It's an hour and a half print, not even.
See, and let me remind people, there are good uses for 3D printing. Justin is not showing you any of them.
Okay, I'll actually show a practical print I just had. So
do it.
This quad has 2 little capacitors that stick out, and that are just soldered up right onto the PCB, and the capacitors just stick out on the bottom. So I printed little holders so they don't bend.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that seems real safe. Just 2 big freaking bus capacitors hanging out of the bottom. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
Well, the battery's there, but it just protects them a little bit more and makes it so they don't bend off.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the goal. And, I mean, I look at, we went to Irwin Technical College. They needed help with their 3D printer. They said their 3D printer is broken. They don't know what to do with it. And I get there, and it is absolutely a personnel issue. The printer was perfect. It was basically brand new. The hot end wasn't even caked up. Like it was a Fusion 3 F410, which we resell. And they don't have they do not come with socks, and you are told not to put socks on them. They want you to run them without socks.
Interesting.
They're copper blocks, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a sock on the copper head.
But they're like, oh, it doesn't work. We can't get parts to stick to it. And I look and say, did you guys read the manual? Well, no. Are you using stock settings? Well, no. I said, okay, so why are you complaining to me that it's not working? Now, they did not buy the printer through us. They bought it direct from Fusion 3. And I confirmed Fusion 3 that it's okay that I go there and work on it. I clearly, these people don't know what they're doing. And, like, I spend 10 minutes with them. We go through everything. And they're like, oh, we were doing this, this, and this. I'm like, why were you trying to print at 2,000 millimeters per second? Of course it's not going to work. Well, we wanted to get it done fast. No. And then they were trying to do things that had really small pipes. The pipes were less than 2 millimeters in diameter.
That's not FDM.
That's not FDM. It's not even resin. It's probably more of a polyjet where you have a dissolvable support material. You could do FDM with dissolvable support, but that was the only way that was going to work ever. And they just could not get it. And I said, look, this printer's not designed for this. This is really fine detail. Even some of my printers are not designed for this. But, yeah, it was just one of those weird edge cases where it's like, all right, we have a clear education problem. And I've had a couple of meetings with the professor who was not there when I went there. It was just one of the students. And he's like, okay, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. And he sends me a picture 2 days later of a perfect print. Perfect print.
Yeah.
And I said, see, I understand you want things to get done fast, but that's not what 3D printing is. Well, it's called rapid prototyping. I said, yes. Because go ahead and set it up in a CNC machine and have it done as fast as I can get it done in a 3D printer. Well, if it was pre-set up, I said, yeah, if it was pre-set up, and if your model was basically pre-printed, it would be faster too. So it is just one of those edge cases where this was where a school had money left over. They bought printers, and they just tossed it into a room and told the teacher, use it.
Yeah, that's I'm glad that's not how it is at my school. That is ones that I know the physics teacher has its 2 MakerBots that they've had for a while.
Rip.
The Rep 2s.
Rip. Oh, Rep 2s. Okay, then they're fine.
Yeah, I think it is the Smart Extruder ones though.
Oh, that's the Rep 5.
I don't.
Yeah, the Replicator 5 is what had the.
I'll see when I'm in class next week, but the school offered for me to take them home for face shields. I'm like,
no.
They were gonna. I'd have to sign liability on them, and if anything broke, I have to pay to fix it. I'm like, nope.
No, you want me to fix your broken printers. Yeah, Florida Polytechnic around the corner from us has, they had the largest farm of MakerBots in the country, like 54, 55. They're all taking them down and replacing them with Prusas because they need reliability. Yep. And I think that's the biggest mistake schools make is they don't look to talk to experts like us. And so I will go ahead and put that out there right now. If you are a school or an educational institute, college, high school, middle school, elementary school, I don't care, and you want to get 3D printers, please reach out to us. We only sell one brand of 3D printer right now, and it's Fusion 3. And ultimately, maybe that's a good fit, maybe it's not. I'm not here to sell you a 3D printer. I am here to help you get one that best fits your needs. Because if you need big-ass parts and you need them fast, I am gonna recommend a Fusion 3 because for the price point they are tough to beat. But if you need really fine detail, really good quality parts, and you can do FDM, I'm gonna recommend like Prusa Minis or Mark 3S's. And if you want resin, I might recommend a Formlabs because as much as I like Elegoo and Anycubic and all of that, their whole system is not great for schools, and I think the Prusa SL1S is a little too small for schools. I think a Formlabs Form 3 fits well for schools, but you really have to know what you're doing, and if you don't, you run into problems, and what happens then as educators, you don't end up using the machines, they collect dust, and your students that could benefit from it don't. They just don't. And that's a huge freaking problem, right? Because, Justin, imagine if you've never been exposed to 3D printing, you would have never been able to make face shields, you would have been never able to make really cool school products. I look at this and say, man, all the cool school products I could have done, utilizing the tech. Happy Farang says, Formlabs are great, but they are expensive to print on. I totally agree with you. But I think the extra expense of a Formlabs is worth their ecosystem because of how useful it is, right? They're just... Can I get my... No, I can't. I've got a tank of Formlabs resin, but...
And the thing with the Formlabs printers, you don't have... Like with...
There's no BS.
I know... Yeah, there's no BS, and like you don't get like any of that shrinkage or anything that you could see on one of the printers that's not tuned perfectly.
You do, you absolutely do. But their firmware and software take care of it.
Yeah, and it's tuned much better because they know what resin's going in, so you'll get you'll get more dimensionally accurate parts, but you'll also get longer print time because they are SLA with lasers.
Yeah, it uses a laser instead of MSLA, which is a screen.
They're still pretty fast, though.
And I've said a couple of times, I am not a huge fan of Formlabs. I had a really bad experience with them. But I think in a school environment, they might have one of the best ecosystems.
I think that'd be the only resin printer I'd recommend for school.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even recommend like a Pio Poly. Like, those are great machines.
I think if you pair it, a Pio Poly with whatever, like a wash and cure plus, maybe. But again, you really got to know how to handle the resin. The resin is...
Formlabs walks you through how to handle the resin.
Well, but their wash and cure stations suck.
That is true.
It's still like manual agitation and a toothbrush. No, I don't want to do that. I want to use a wash and cure station because they just freaking work. And... Yes, I understand. I'm going to be a little bit lazy, but like the wash and cure station for $250 that we recently reviewed, did the hands-on come out yet? Crap, the hands-on still hasn't come out yet. God, all right, so maybe the Ender 3 hands-on might not be for another week. Holy crap, we're ahead of time on videos. I did a hands-on of the Wash and Cure Plus where I actually had a part on our Saturn, and I couldn't bring out the Saturn myself, but I had an assistant bring out the Saturn. I pulled the part off the build plate. I put it into the thing. I filled it with fluid. I did the whole hands-on thing to show you guys how it works. I even cured it, which I normally don't do. But, I would use that over something from Formlabs because Formlabs doesn't have an automated wash and cure. I do like the Prusa setup, but I just think the SL1S is still too small. Unless you can afford an army of them, and in that case, get an army of SL1Ss. But still, it's tough, man, because you really do have to know how to handle chemicals to handle the resin. Yeah. But FDM, I'm not motivated by money to sell you a printer. That's not my goal. My goal is to make sure that I can educate the educators so that they can properly educate their students, and I don't get a lot of phone calls of, hey, this stuff is broken. Yeah. And like the first 15-minute phone call, I won't charge for, right? We don't charge for that first 15-minute phone call, but after that, I got to pay for my time. So, everybody understands that.
For FDM, I feel like the only thing that, like, the dangers of it, just don't touch hot.
It's heat. Yeah, it's the heat.
Don't touch hot.
And I did it the other day. I tell people to wear cutting gloves, and what do? I don't wear cutting gloves.
I know.
I cut my thumb. I was scraping a part off the build, and
what printer?
Or no, I wasn't. I was scraping support. I was scraping support off of the golf ball parts. They're shipped, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, they're out to the clients. I didn't take photos because they're under NDAs, but they came out pretty good. But yeah, I booped myself. But the cut was so clean, it barely bled. So now I just want to use hand sanitizer. I'm
those will just sting forever and never heal. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The other thing is the PLA splinters that you get under your nails.
Oh, the worst. The worst.
And it just bleeds and your whole nail turns red. Yep.
Yep. No thanks. No thanks. And there's a cutting glove won't stop that either. But yeah, I think if schools understood what the technology does, how it can help, and why it can be useful, I think we would see it be used more often. And even further, if they had trained and competent people, students like Justin would be able to utilize it more in school rather than having to rely on it at home.
Yeah.
It's like, how many students are in your school?
Just around 4,000.
4,000 students at your high school?
Yeah, you didn't know this?
My college had 2,000.
Yeah.
My high school had 600.
That's why I'm only looking at big schools for college, because I don't want to go back to high school.
You aren't looking at big schools, you said.
I am only looking at big schools
Why?
because all the small schools are smaller than my high school.
So it means you get better attention from the professors.
I like.
Do you like learning? Because if you like learning, small schools are better. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I used to go to lunch with my professors to just talk about nothing class related, and they knew you by name, which sucks if, if you were late to class, but totally cool if you like needed extra help, because you don't sign up with your student number, you sign up with your name to
Yeah.
go get office hours.
Well, that's why I'm applying to a lot of like the honors colleges at these bigger schools, because you get that smaller experience in some classes, but then also have the large like football and fun stuff. Facts. The internet does beat college learning wise. Yeah.
It's funny. I bet my dad would even agree to this right now. Like, there is no substitute for college education if you're going to something where college education matters. Like, Justin could take all the online classes he wants about mechanical engineering, but it's that stupid piece of paper that people need to hire him, right? And I hope that Justin doesn't go work for anybody else. I hope that he just stays with us and we can build him up to being like a partner or something. But ultimately, that may not happen. We actually are losing one of our staff members at the end of next week. They got poached by PlayStation, so I can't complain there, right? Like, yeah. If Lockheed Martin poaches Justin, I can't hate that, right? Like, from a business perspective, it sucks. But I can't hate the fact that Justin got a great opportunity from a really cool place to go and work.
I mean, like 1 or 2 phone calls and I could get to a couple other the 3D printing OEMs.
I mean, I'm sure you could, but are they going to be anywhere near as fun as this?
True.
And eventually, will they pay anywhere near as well as we will? They probably
Depends.
will. They might even pay a little bit better. But
Depends.
this year has not been great financially for us. I looked at our financials and it's not great. It's not great. But hey, that's what happens when you want to automate basically everything. We're gonna be coming back strong. Now that everyone's going back to school, you guys can't screw around and not do stuff anymore. So you're gonna have to have better time management. Justin, Brad, Julia, and because our products don't stop. So I'm excited to see what the school year brings. But I'm excited to see what projects you end up with where you can utilize 3D printing, because I think that's really the big value, is where 3D printing can be used by the students. Because we see it from mechanical engineering students from USF, but I don't get it from high schools. And the Ender 3 still to this, it still baffles me how good that printer is for its price.
I put an hour and a half into it and an extra $50, and I'd say it's as easy as my Prusa is to print now.
So we're gonna, for those that don't know, we're gonna be doing a whole series on getting the Ender 3 to print perfectly stock, and then I'm gonna rip everything off of it and we're gonna start upgrading it. And
it prints pretty good stock.
It's.
Did you use the Prusa slicer settings yet?
I used Creality Slicer, sir.
Okay, try Prusa slicer and it's gonna print great.
Yeah, the first thing we're gonna do is move away from Creality Slicer.
Then you're not gonna do anything
Prusa
else.
Slicer. Yeah,
You're not gonna do anything else.
Well, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna release tune profiles for it.
Stock ones are great.
Well, the tuned ones are gonna be better. I want to see how far we can push an Ender 3 before we start seeing problems of the PTFE hot end breaks down and things like that. But we're gonna take you guys along for the ride. I'm gonna unbox a printer that was buy one get one free. We're gonna do that. Probably gonna try to do that this weekend, but clearly it's not gonna come out for like 2 or 3 weeks. So
yeah,
whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We have a Wi-Fi unboxing. That's gonna be a weird one coming up. We don't get good Wi-Fi in the garage, and I did my first influencer thing where I reached out to the company to see if there was a review unit available, and there totally was. So that'll be our first video where we got compensated with product to do the review. But I am looking at it from an end user perspective, and you are going to see my brother in a channel video for the first time, and he is going to tell you all about it from a technical perspective. And TLDR, it's pretty interesting from my level, pretty terrible from a technical level. But, you know, most people aren't going to do it for what Jonathan will use it for. But we're going to compare it to Powerline and a couple of other things. But anyways, I'm excited to see where education goes with 3D printing. My goal is to try to empower local kids with like really affordable 3D printing, like offer basically at cost 3D printing to schools.
Yeah.
Not to colleges. If you have access to printers and you are lazy, you're not getting a discount. But if you don't have access to 3D printers and you want to integrate 3D printing into your curriculum, I would even look at like donating some of my time to be an adjunct professor for a class or two so I could teach about it, because I want this technology to get out there. This is a huge problem for us that we don't have access. And it's not expensive. It's just that some schools don't have the friggin' budgets.
At UW, Jeffrey Lipton, he's in the build volume group with all of us, and
what's UW?
He's pretty cool. Instead of assigning textbooks to classes, he assigns everyone to go buy an Ender 3. It's cheaper than textbooks, but you get to keep it and you learn way more with it.
And like, outside of the rough neighborhoods, $200 or even $300 for a printer is not unreasonable. I would probably recommend Grant. I'd probably recommend Prusa Minis for first timers. And I said in that video, in the review video, I recommend Prusa Minis for first timers. I think an Ender 3 is a phenomenal second printer. From a business standpoint, they're still not good enough for a business. They're not reliable enough. Unless you put a bunch of money into it, and at that point you might as well have just bought a Prusa.
Yeah, it's a project.
But I think a project is good if the kid or you as the child have the patience. I think that's the big deal of, if you are a parent looking to get a 3D printer in your household, you do have to look at it and say, all right, is my kid a little shit, or are they going to be totally cool with this? And if your kid kind of sucks, like, don't lie to yourself. Is your kid going to get bored of this thing quickly? Or are they going to, complain when it doesn't work? Or are they going to be the kind of person like Brad? And I know that Brad isn't perfect, but, Brad has a tool changer. And Brad is 16 years old, and Brad has gotten a tool changer to work.
I couldn't do a tool changer.
I had problems with the tool changer when I was over helping Brad.
I couldn't do it.
Look at this thing. Like, I first looked, I said, Brad, this is a rat's nest of a wire short that's looking to happen. And I helped him cable manage, and then he redid the whole thing like a week later.
And then put the RGB on there.
And of course, you gotta have the RGB. Yeah, you gotta have the RGB. Allison said, "You obviously have met my kids." I have met the fair standard of children working at Mosey here in Tampa. But, I will say the one thing that I always enjoyed about Mosey, and I poo-pooed them a little bit. I enjoyed being able to work with teachers and educators that would come in and assist them in their curriculum, because a lot of these kids, they didn't come from great neighborhoods. This was their after-school care. They would come to Mosey. There'd be one or two adults. A lot of the staff would look beyond the fact that there's 30 kids with one person, because we knew that a lot of them didn't have a great home to go to. And we would work on trying to find interesting ways to integrate the curriculum into what we were doing. I will never forget my most impactful moment there was when we had, it was an audio month. And for those that don't know, I love music. And I have a few different audio setups. And I brought in my 1970s era audio setup. So it was a pair of Wharfdale Delta 7s and a JCPenney amplifier. Yes, JCPenney used to sell phenomenal amplifiers. Go to hell, Justin. It was back in the day. Has VU meters and everything, all right? It's a great amp. The one thing it doesn't have is it does not have a protection circuit. But I brought in records, I brought in a turntable, and this was every day that I worked there. I was bringing this stuff in and out every single day. so that I could show people the difference between vinyl, which is uncompressed, and compressed audio. And I even recorded a vinyl record to an MP3 to show them the difference of what just basic compression does. And I will never forget when I had an older couple, and I was just playing music. When no one was around, I was just playing whatever music I could, you know, throw on some Earth, Wind and Fire, some Stevie Wonder, and there was Frank Sinatra was on. And this old couple just came in. They were just dancing. They were just dancing. Their grandkids were playing around. They were just dancing. I have never flipped and queued a record so fast in my life. They danced for 2 sides of an hour. That's like 40 minutes worth of music. And they danced the entire time. And like, that made all the BS worth it, because I know that they were reliving a moment in their life that they haven't relived in a long time. And like, when you saw kids that came in that were really quiet, and you would show them 3D printers. We had 3D printers there. And they would just light up with excitement. Or you would teach them a little bit about lasers. I used to bring in burning lasers and like pop balloons for people to show what is photons, how photons work, and how this whole thing works. It made all the BS worth it. It made the bad management worth it. It made the crap pay worth it. Because ultimately, you were inspiring these boys and girls to become engineers. Everybody that has had a major life shift can likely attribute it to some sort of educator or, you know, figure in their life. Mine was John Winchester. I'm going to try to get him on the podcast. It'd be really cool to have him on the podcast. He's the kind of guy I think would have a lot of fun on this podcast. You know, but they can all attribute it to it. And I said, you know, if I can be that person for one of these kids, then I've done my job. My job was not to make money. My job was to inspire people. And when I look at what educators do, what teachers do, there are a lot of teachers that are quitting right now. The state of Florida, our governor has decided that if you mandate masks at your school, you will not get government funding. And for a lot of schools, that government funding, they can't pay bills. They can't pay teachers. So they have to bend over and do what our governor says. And whether you agree with it or not, I personally do not give a damn. But what I do believe is that people should have the right to choose, and thankfully students are allowed to still wear them. But teachers are going back into an atmosphere where they are putting their lives at risk every single day. And the teachers that still choose to do it are not there because of the money. They're not there because they need to be. They could go somewhere else. They're there because they know that they can impact the lives of a kid every single day, and that this kid that would not have a great education otherwise, that wouldn't have as good of an education that they would have with them, now has the opportunity to succeed. That's why these teachers still do it. That's why I interviewed Cole. That's why if you are a teacher and you want to come on this podcast, come on this podcast. I will open up this podcast to any teacher that wants to come on and talk about, I don't give a damn. It doesn't even have to be about 3D printing. Come on and talk about being a teacher. It'd be awesome.
Hopefully in the coming weeks I'll be able to get a couple of
Yeah.
my teachers. I think
I really
think
want
when schools-
Christy Deutsch to come on so she could just like shit talk you the whole podcast. I'm really looking forward to that. And I want your current teacher to come on when you're not here so he can talk about all the ways you suck as a student.
A lot.
And I'm going to say, was he working on his phone around 11 a.m.? Because if so, yeah, that's my fault. I'm sorry. Heather says, my governor worships your governor, and they're both not doing what's best for anyone but themselves. Yep. Yeah. When, the local hospitals are not able to accept people, if you get a stroke, you might be waiting 7 or 8 hours to get help. You can't tell me that, not having mask mandates is good for our community. So, whatever. I'm not here to play the sidelines of politics. I play the sidelines of statistics and math. And when Florida had over 20,000 new cases in a day, Australia shut down for 140 cases. Florida, doors are open, homie. Come on in. 20,000 cases, we don't care. Our healthcare workers are expendable. I'm going to get off my soapbox at this point, because I have very much gotten away from the point of this episode, which is to really understand what the value of 3D printing can be. Because, that kid that may not have access to a hot glue gun, or the school that may not have enough hot glue guns for the kids, you can queue up 3D prints and let them run overnight, man. You can let them run over friggin' night. And you shouldn't, but you're going to. Don't lie to yourself. You know you're gonna. And if you use Octoprint and you pay for Spaghetti Detective, and I bet if I reach out to Spaghetti Detective, we could probably get them to cut some licenses to schools for free. And if they don't,
It's not that expensive.
Grant, you don't have the money. Don't offer to pay for them. You don't have the money for this.
I think it's like $100 a year or something. It's not very expensive.
I will negotiate with the Spaghetti Detective. If I can get enough schools that want to do this where they can run prints overnight for their kids, done.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you are a student out there and you don't have access, and you can prove to me you don't have access, because if you're going to be a real pain in my ass and do a lot of 3D printing with us and you have access, I'm going to be mad at you. And especially if you're local. If you're local, you can just come and get parts. But if you're, you know, if you're not local to us and you want access to 3D printing and your school doesn't have it, you don't for some reason have the financial means to get there, reach out to us. I will give you 3D printing for as close to cost as I can. I want to empower students. You know, we have a 3-pillar system here. It's educate, empower, and create. You are getting educated on a daily basis. If we can help empower you via that education so that you can create, damn it, we've done our job. I believe that 3D printing is incredibly valuable. I believe there's going to be a massive amount of jobs surrounding this industry coming very soon. I got my buddy who's got, I don't know how many friggin' college degrees he has. I think he has no less than 6 college degrees. And a few of them are masters. He's looking to go back to do his masters at Purdue. Is it Purdue? They're the ones that have the masters
Penn State,
in AM?
you said. Penn State.
Penn State, yes. He's looking to go back to Penn State to get his...
Oh, he'll be working under
State.
Tim Simpson then.
Huh?
He'll be working under Tim Simpson.
Oh.
He's awesome.
I think he's ultimately not going to do it because it's a lot of time that he doesn't want to spend. But, you know, his work is willing to pay for it, which is pretty cool.
That's nice.
He works for aerospace company.
Yeah.
No, 3D Musketeers will not pay for your college. Go away. You want someone to go pay for your college? Go work at Walmart. They'll pay for your college.
I know. I saw that.
God, from a business owner perspective, I saw that and my heart sank. I said, well, there goes my ability to get people for cheap anymore. Like, good Lord, they're going to pay $15 an hour and they're going to pay for your college. Now, I bet you have to sign a 4-year agreement with them that you're going to work for 4 years and they'll pay for your college. And if at any point you quit in those 4 years, you got to pay them back. I'm not going to pay for people's colleges. I can't as a small business. But if there are like Udemy classes or something that we all can do as a company, I would totally be down for that.
Yeah.
You know, because I want us to constantly be pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And if we don't do it, then we stagnate. And I think that if we can continue that education outside of the classroom and get it into the homes, that'd be awesome. I would love nothing more than to have a 3D printing education learning management system. Now, we talked about the Making Awesome Academy before, but that's really all about, you know, like freaking... Oh, I'm trying to think of the word. This is why I love editing, because, like, my brain will go blank and I have to wait for it to, like, reload, right? My brain was like my internet earlier. It just goes dead.
Like inventors and stuff,
yeah,
right?
it's for inventors, but I want to do one for kids. But I just don't know how I would do it. I don't know. If we could get enough teachers to, like, volunteer their time, I would do this and do it for free. I would go through all the work. I'd even pay our editors to edit it, and we'd put it out there for free. I mean, they'd have to sign up, which means it's going to give us their email, which means I'm going to email them, you know, marketing materials and such. But I believe that there is not enough education out there, and I want to see more kids like me. I want to see more kids like you. I want to see more kids like Brad. I want to see more kids, you know, that are here and they're doing stuff not because they need to, but because they can. I want to see, you know, when the next wave of the pandemic comes through and all the toilet paper is gone from the shelves of all the stores, that all of us are saying, all right, we know what to do, boys and girls. Let's fire it up. Let's get those shields printing. And we go back into it and we say, you know what? We just don't care. We do it because it's the right thing to do.
That's the reason I do it. I don't care about having the credit, having it on a resume. I don't. That's not the reason I was printing the facial. That's not the reason why.
It doesn't hurt though. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
that's a secondary benefit to me at most.
We didn't do it for the press. We didn't get any press. Funny, there were like local companies that were just whoring out. Excuse me. That's probably not the right word for it, but They were going crazy on the press.
Yeah.
Oh, look at what we're doing. We've made 100 shields. I'm like, I made 1,000 in the time that you made 100.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I got it was because for some reason my wrestling coach, of all people, who's not normally wanting to go and like he wouldn't care about getting the press or anything, and he was the one who reached out for me, and like I didn't even want it. I'm like, okay.
And nobody ever reached out for us, but we got a lot of really great handwritten thank you notes from the nurses, saying that we are heroes, and we're not, right? We're just regular people, and like we are still financially, like I was Joe Exotic. I will never financially recover from this. We are still hurting from that first thing, and I mean we spent like $6,000 in time, materials, and all that. At least
materials alone, like just straight up material costs, I was at least $700 or $800.
How many shields did you make?
Close to 2,000.
Wow. We only
on one machine.
How long were you printing?
A month and a half, 2 months.
Okay, that's why we stopped at 3 weeks because our buddy in Sarasota was able to do 10,000 a day on his injection molding machines.
I could get one face shield in less than half an hour.
Yeah, we were doing 2 an hour.
I could get 2.5 an hour.
Damn, you were running fast.
And that was only on 0.6 nozzle.
Oh, we were running 0.4 nozzles, but I did put our company logo on it. I put 3D Musketeers on the thin part of it. Look, I'm a business, okay? Right? It doesn't take any extra time, and if I'm giving it away, I can do what I want. I had that tool path down like. Yeah, you really do get it down. The parts didn't look great, but they got the job done. I own to this day multiple laminators, and I still have thousands of laminator sheets. We donated a bunch of them, but we still have a ton.
I don't have any more sheets. I have frames and ear savers. If anyone wants ear savers, I will put them in a plain white envelope, stick a stamp on it, and. I have so many. I still have like 500 or 600.
We lasered them because they're so much faster on the laser.
I mean, I was doing them one or 2 layers thick.
How fast were you able to print them?
Really fast. Like I do like 7 or 8 in less than 30 minutes, I think.
We were able to do more than 1 a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I could fit 1,000 on an 18 by 24 sheet of wood. I click go and I walk away.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I trust my laser, and I have a fire extinguisher next to it. By the way, would you all like to see laser content? Let me know in the comments if you want to see some laser cutting content. I've been thinking about doing reviews of light burn, showing it off, and then actually lasering stuff. My laser, I will put things. It's very dirty, and I am not going to clean it. I'm not. It's right at the point where the bend that I have to do in my back to work on the laser is really, really tough for me. Allison says yes to the laser. So, all right, we'll have to do laser content.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to film it. The laser it is on wheels, but I don't want to move it. It's in the corner. If you look at our standing set, you can actually see it. It's the red thing in the standing set, the big red thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, we should do a whole series of Will It Cut. And we start putting weird stuff in the laser.
That's how you burn down your house, Grant.
If a guy can have an entire YouTube channel around 3D printing fans and putting them on a Noctua base, we could do a whole thing.
Best YouTube channel ever, though.
Oh my gosh. Film through the plexi. Laser Sundays. No. Okay, first off, I'm not doing laser cutting in the middle of the day. Laser cutting videos will only happen at night. Is it a good idea to laser cut this? Someone's going to send me PVC, and I'm just going to have to say no and yeet it off the set. We will never do laser live. So anyone that wants to see laser cutting content, I'm sorry, I won't do it live. 1, too many problems with it. It's not reliable enough. But 2, to do live stuff, I have to do it during the day. My laser happens to be in my garage, and my garage gets really freaking hot.
Yeah.
Even when I did the Ender video, I started filming the Ender video at 8 p.m. and we were done around midnight. It was a 4-hour on-set video because it was the unboxing, the initial look, the build, and then the review. So yes, the video is actually coming out off of order. I was sweating, and there was no sun. I was sweating the whole time. Heather says winter is coming, but that does not mean it gets cold here. Heather, I don't know if you spent... Yeah, Florida winter just means it's cold at night. 50 at night. It'll probably get into the mid-70s for winter this winter.
Yeah, we'll get, once it's winter, but it's gonna get hotter. Like mid-August through September gets really hot here in LA.
Yeah, right now, I mean, it is 31 C, and rain is coming according to my computer.
That's disgusting.
Huh?
That's disgusting.
Yeah, so it's 88 Fahrenheit, 31 C, and let me see here. I clicked show full forecast. Of course, it's going to open up in Bing.
It
is
90?
68% ambient humidity outside right now. And it's got a 76% chance of rain.
It is really humid here, though, too.
The high is 33 C, the low is 23 C. That's it. So yeah, we don't film videos on the standing sets unless it's late at night, because otherwise I sweat profusely. But yeah, we will start doing laser content. It's funny. I had a whole video where I was working on laser content, and as I was filming it, the laser died. Bit of F in the chat for that one. So I have to redo that entire video. But yeah, anyways, 3D printing education. I want to see it more. I am willing to take time. If you are in Pasco County, Florida, please email us. I want to help you. If you are in Hillsborough County, Florida, I want to help you. If you're in Hernando, you might be too far. I don't know. But if you are anywhere around the country, please reach out to us. If you are an educator and you now have been thrown a 3D printer, I will be happy to take you through the basics of 3D printing, how to use it, how to use a slicer, and I will not charge you for your first meeting. I want to help people. I know it's a bad business model. I don't particularly care. I hope that by that point we can have some decent YouTube money coming in, and it will be able to offset the cost of all of those meetings. But I want to help educators out there, because educators, people like Christy Deutsch, will continue to inspire you, whether you understand it or not right now. Yeah, you will look back and you will see Christy as being one of those people that changed the way that you looked at something. I promise you. And she will look back and say, you were the student that changed the way that she looked at something. And there's a lot of value to that. The fact that I still remember the name of my high school physics teacher, John Winchester.
Yeah.
15 years later, brother, I can't tell you what I had for dinner last night. Okay? People make a profound impact on your life, and if we can help you as an educator or you as a student make that happen, I'm willing to put in the time. That's all I have, though. It's going to be a little bit of a short one. We are going to start transitioning to shorter podcast episodes. One, it's a ton of time. Two, I am hungry. I haven't eaten, so it's like it's 2:30, and other than needing to go to the dentist, I want to get out of here. So, did you think I froze there for a minute? It took you that long?
It took a second.
Oh no! Oh, the jokes are so bad. Oh, they're so bad. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Any final thoughts, Justin?
No, just 3D print and make cool stuff and share it with us if you're making cool stuff.
Yeah, if you're making cool stuff, tweet at us. It's at 3D_Musketeers, because I'm pretty sure we own at 3D Musketeers, but I don't have the password or access to the account anymore. Yay! So it's at 3D_Musketeers on Twitter. Tweet at us your photos, and maybe we'll start like the first 5 or 10 minutes of podcast showing off some of the prints. So it's gonna suck for the audio only people, but meh.
No, we should do like almost like hot makes.
What's hot? I haven't watched hot makes.
I don't either, but like whenever there's like cool projects that people post, like someone else will tag a hashtag hot makes under it, and then it'll get shown on their podcast. So like,
I'd show it off. I think it sounds cool.
Like, yeah, so I mean, if anyone has cool projects, just
See, and
Send
now
it our
people
way.
can't claim that we're doing the same thing Hot Makes does. Because I bet
Yeah.
they're going to. But oh well. I don't care.
Everyone does the cool projects. I mean, Prusa Live does it.
We're still, let's be real, we're still learning, right? We're still learning
Yeah.
what works best on YouTube. We're still learning what works best for our audience, so bear with us as we go through this. Allison says, have a great afternoon and evening, guys. We hope you all have a lovely day. Don't forget to call your loved ones, and as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. See you all Monday. Monday. Bye. Yeah, make it an awesome day. Ooh,
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like that. Heather said make it awesome. Make it an awesome day. I don't want to change my outro. My outro just like, don't forget to call your loved ones. Make it an awesome, no. Make it an awesome day. Don't forget to call your loved ones and keep making us too many awesomes. I can't
We'll
do
figure it
that.
out.
We're still live, by the way. I haven't cut it yet. Oh, make it awesome is so good, but how do I work it in there?
Change it up every so often. I don't know. Well,
Yeah. I like that. We're gonna integrate that in there somehow. All right. Bye everybody.
bye guys.